Welcome, everyone. Hopefully everybody could hear that. Illinois Loyalty, University of Illinois Fighting Illini marching band. So hope everyone's doing well tonight. My name is Kate Deering. I thought we could play a little tune and give us a little kind of a couple extra minutes here to let everybody join today. So thanks for being here. It looks like we have a great group today. As I said, my name is Kate Deering. I am an assistant director within recruitment and admissions here at Gies Online programs at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. You are at the Gies Online Masters in Business Administration iMBA webinar. So we're very excited to have you here. As you can see, there is a QR code on your screen. If you are interested in talking with one of our admission counselors on our team, they would reach out to you in a couple days if you fill out a short form via that QR code, and we'll have a conversation about your goals and talk to you about our programs and see which credential could possibly help you out and impact your career. So that's an easy way to get in touch. Let's kind of just familiarize ourselves with each other. Here is just a quick poll. I'm curious to see where everyone is joining us from. So here's one other QR code that kind of enters you into that poll, or you can just go ahead and enter the URL at the top. Go ahead and type in where you're joining us from. We love to see where our students come from. While you are doing that, I just wanted to say that we have some really fabulous guests with us today. We have my colleague, Steph Snyder. She is actually going to be in the Q&A and the chat function. I would say if you have program questions, go ahead and throw those in the Q&A feature. It's just much easier for us to follow those questions and everybody can see the answers so that we don't have a lot of duplicate questions. Save that chat for just, I guess, quick kudos, quick fun comments that you have. That's kind of an easier way to keep those comments and questions and answers separated. And then I also have two special panelists here with us today, actually one panelist and then one special iMBA student that is going to actually do a lot of our presentation today. We thought we'd switch things up today and have an authentic voice present program information, and I of course will be here as well. So we're going to have them introduce themselves here in just a moment, but let's check out where everyone's from. We have all right, Indiana, California, I guess more than one person from California. And I see some people throwing in the chat. We have someone from Vietnam, Indy, New Jersey, Canada, Michigan, Estonia. Excellent. So we have like really a great range of students domestically and internationally. Singapore, Sam, how are you? Thanks for joining us. What time is it in Singapore, Sam? Let us know in the chat. I think you guys are, I want to say 13 hours difference, maybe. Oh no, 7:05. Yeah. Okay. So maybe, what is that, 14, 15 hours? Dubai. Excellent. All right. We have a fabulous group here today. Thanks for filling out that poll. We will have a couple more, so you can go ahead and leave that open if you'd like. But here's our agenda. So I am going to do some introductions real quick here for our special guests, and then I'm going to present just a couple slides on the University of Illinois, Gies business in general, just to give you an overview of what we're about here at the Gies College of Business. And then I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Brian Roscoe. He is going to do a program overview, talk a little bit about the curriculum and content, and then we'll bring it back to some application tips and tricks for myself. We'll have lots of Q&A time at the end as well. So, we do also have a panelist that is a current iMBA student. We love to have one of our current students here to answer questions as we move throughout our presentation, give you kind of their honest opinion of what they've experienced in the program. So I'm going to have Sepa introduce himself first.
Hello, my name is Supa. I am currently an iMBA student and I'll be graduating this December. I've been in the program for 2 years now, so I'll be happy to answer any questions today.
Excellent, Supa. Supa and I actually were, I know this seems crazy, but we actually were able to meet for coffee a couple months ago. Well, maybe it was just a month ago. I don't know. It seems like a long time ago on campus. So he was visiting here, talking to some of the professors, and we were able to meet. So that was really, really a special time to kind of catch up there. So, okay, Brian, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Brian Roscoe. I am a graduate of the iMBA program. I graduated in May of 2021. So it's been a little bit, but I'm still very much involved in this program and love joining these webinars to speak with all of you. So excited to be here.
Excellent. Okay, so this is like I said, Brian's going to present here in a moment, but this is one of my favorite ways to do a little different spin on our program information. Hopefully you've visited our website. Steph, if you don't mind putting our website in the chat, you can kind of check that out as we move throughout our time today. And then if you have specific questions or need a little bit of clarification or something like that, we can jump in and make sure we have your questions answered. So don't be shy with those questions. But first of all, why choose the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign? I did want to just give you a quick glimpse into some of the amazing things that the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign is known for. The Gies College of Business, first of all, is one of 16 colleges found within the University of Illinois. So the Greater University of Illinois was founded in 1867, and it was actually one of the first original public land grant institutions that was created after President Lincoln signed the Morrill Act in 1862. So the Gies College of Business has actually really taken that land grant mission to heart in expanding access to learning at a really affordable price, as well as including our global participants. We have 29 Pulitzer Prize winners out of University of Illinois. It's the number 13th ranked public university according to US World and News Report, or News and World Report. A couple other really cool facts. We have a lot of R&D, 731 million R&D expenditures that come out of the University of Illinois. And it's also rated as the #1 most disability-friendly campus in the US, which I find that's just amazing that we can offer that kind of service. So, and then lastly, we have over 500K alumni in the greater U of I. So just know that if you do decide to enroll in one of our credentials today, or in the near future, you will have the full alumni backing, as well as all the resources that a University of Illinois student would have. So it's a very well-respected brand that you will be, I guarantee, really proud to be a part of. And then secondly, if we break it down a little bit further to the Gies College of Business, we also have some really fabulous stats on this page regarding Gies Business and where our credentials lie. It was the #1 business school innovation of the decade. We were the MBA program of the year, announced pretty recently, out of all MBA programs, including residential and online. And then, we had the Dean of the Year back in 2021, who is, he's actually not retiring, but stepping down here from a full career as Dean this year. So we'll have a new Dean coming very soon, which will be very exciting. And then lastly, we talked about the Greater University of Illinois alumni of over 500K. We actually have just shy of 80,000 alumni just from Gies Business. So that'll be even a little bit more of a specialized alumni group that you will have as a great resource. So all of those things to say, you obviously are starting with a great university with Illinois, as well as the Gies Online. So here's our next poll. Before we dive in, and I'm going to turn it over to Brian after this poll, but we're curious what, you're here today, obviously, for a reason. You're seeking more information, but what's been holding you back? Why haven't you taken that jump to pursue a business in general, or a graduate certificate, or maybe just some type of graduate level credential? Let us know what's been holding you back. That way we can kind of gear some of our answers and some of our explanations a little bit to make sure that we cover some of these concerns. Looks like we've got cost, time commitment. Time commitment we'll definitely be able to cover today. I know that. It does take some time. It's not an easy program, but we'll be able to break that down a little bit more specifically for you. Cost at 29%, and looks like cost and time commitment. And the rest we actually will cover as well. So ROI, we will definitely talk about the return on investment that you'll receive from completing your degree, as well as just when you start. I mean, in each class, we'll talk a little bit about being able to use that immediately in your day-to-day, those things that you've learned in your live sessions. So, okay, well, that looks like a pretty good representation, time commitment, cost, and a little, a couple of the other reasons too. So we'll keep that in mind as we move along. So I am going to now throw it over to Brian, because I would love to have Brian present some of these slides and just give you a little bit more information about Gies business in general. And then he will also jump into a little bit more specific about the MBA program as well. So Brian, if you have any questions for me, I will go ahead and unmute myself and jump right back in.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kate. Yeah, everyone. So the Gies Business Online Program. So what is it about them that makes it so exciting, right? So these are very flexible programs. So I can say this really does play into, I think, that time commitment that everybody's voting on. I can definitely say that I got very creative on how I approached my schoolwork and got my schoolwork done because of the flexibility. It's stackable. So, and as well as the flexibility, there's stackability here. And we'll talk about that a little bit on the next slide. And then these are all online by design. So I know a lot of times people have questions of, is there ever a requirement to be somewhere in person? And the answer is no. The university does offer opportunities to be in person, to enjoy the university and have those opportunities to connect with professors and students, but there is never any requirement to be in person somewhere. So the stackable build. So the online programs do offer several different areas here that you can take advantage of. So there are 100% online graduate degrees, which includes the MBA, the MSA, and the MSM. So whichever one better suits the path that you're looking for. There are graduate certificates. So maybe you're just looking for a certificate at this time. There are 4-credit courses. And then there are also like the free online courses. So anybody can go on to Coursera and check and see what type of free online courses there are. Now, if you do complete some of these, as you can see, there is a stackable build depending on the path that you're taking or like whatever timing that you specifically have. All of these different areas can then stack into potentially what that online degree would be for you if you so choose to pursue one of those. So graduate certificates. So we have, the MBA, the MSA, and MSM courses. They are 12 hours transcripted credit. They are transcriptable certificate upon completion. So you would receive that certificate. And then there's a brief application process. And like I said before, they are stackable into an iDegree or it can stand alone. So if you do choose to then pursue a degree after doing your certificate, it can then build into that degree that you're pursuing. Otherwise, if you're simply looking for a certificate in a specific area or skill set that you're trying to learn, you can do that as well. And as you can see on the right side of the slide, these are the different areas that we do allow some certificates in. So hopefully one of those catches your eye. And Kate, I saw you come off mute. Is there something you'd like to add?
No, I was just going to see if Supa could kind of share a little bit about why he chose Gies, first of all, just in general.
Yeah.
And then which of those access points or different credentials did you start with, Supa?
Yeah, so why I chose Gies, I think for me, it's a value of quality education and the price. I think, the price is definitely, hard to pass on. I was looking for to do my MBA degree for a long time. And I think that my biggest barrier was the cost. And then I started out as a degree seeker. So I started out in an iMBA program back in August 2022.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, Kate, I could definitely add to that in terms of my search. Well, I think when you're looking for an MBA program, I was actually looking for an in-person one. And then I think the price point of this one and the live sessions, which really does make you feel like you are in person, and the engagement really that did steer my decision. So, so moving on to this next slide here. So we do have, MBA quick facts. So as we were speaking on costs, you can see the total cost for that degree is $23.9 thousand. This includes all tuition and fees. So it's 24 months to completion, or you can extend to 36 months. There is a max of 5 years. I would say typically there's a 2-year, a 2.5-year, or a 3-year track that students typically select or go by. And I would say 2.5 years is probably the most popular. I did the 2.5 year, and I think it's a really good pace and balance for course load and course work, and being able to juggle the work-life balance that comes with adding a degree into your normal everyday life. And there are 5 start dates for the term. So you have January, March, May, August, and October. So with your application, you'd be targeting one of those start dates, depending on when you get your application submitted. So the iMBA by the numbers, the average age is 37 years old. The average years of work experience is 11 years. U.S. states and territories that are represented are 50, which is great to see. There are over 100+ countries represented. So I will say this is one thing that I really appreciated about the program, is just the global reach it had and the different perspectives that you get to gain from this program, because it is fully online. And then Fortune 100 companies that are represented is 88. So that's another thing too, is you get perspective from a lot of people, from a lot of different industries and careers. So it's really a unique blend of people that you're able to talk to and meet and work on group projects together.
On that note, there was a question in the Q&A. How many students are typically in your classes?
Yeah, so Suba, you can speak to this as well. When I was a student, it's been a few years, but typically on a Zoom live session when I was in there, I would say it was usually average around 70 students, maybe 50 to 90, kind of in that range, 50 being on the lower side and 90 being on the higher side, depending on which session of the day that you decided to attend.
Yeah, I would say about the same, about 50 to 100. But that does not prevent you to, being able to participate. People either get call on, or they just they're willing to contribute their experience to the class discussion. So
yeah, we'll show you an example here soon that you'll be a face on a screen with everybody else. It's like a lottery if you're called on. Just like anything, if you're in a class, you'll get called on, and they do have group breakouts during those sessions as well. So more by the numbers here. So 90%, 96% satisfaction with the overall program quality. I totally agree with this. I think the quality is absolutely fantastic. 65% received a promotion, job offer, or accepted a new position during the iMBA program. I am part of that 65%. This was something that happened for me, as well as 25% pay increase during the iMBA program. Can also preach to that as well. So if you're looking at this program for ROI, I can definitely say these numbers are very good, and I would definitely say that what you put into this, you'll definitely get out of it, and it can definitely carry a lot of weight in advancing your career and your skill set. So the MBA curriculum and content. So as we said before, to earn your MBA, you'll need to complete 72 credit hours. There are 48 core credit hours and then 24 electives. And then there's going to be 3 capstone projects, 2 during the program and then 1 final capstone at the very end. So you'll see there's the core specializations. So these are the ones that everyone is required to complete: strategic leadership and management, managerial economics and business analysis, value chain management, and financial management. And then the focus area specializations, this is where you kind of get to pick and choose. You can choose 1, 2, or both, or you could create a mix and match and kind of create your own custom specialization of maybe an area or classes that you are interested in. So you can see that we have global challenges in business, entrepreneurship and strategic innovation, digital marketing, business analytics, and mergers and acquisitions. And I can say the great thing about this program is how they continue to innovate and continue to add different either graduate certificates or specialization areas, because I can tell you a couple of these were not available when I was a student.
Can you guys talk about which ones you completed? And then there was a question on what a capstone project is.
Sure. So I completed the global challenges in business and then entrepreneurship and strategic innovation. And I had mentioned how some of these weren't available. Business analytics was added like during my second year, and then mergers and acquisitions was added after I graduated. capstone projects really are. So like if you're doing the two during your time in the program, you would choose a capstone that you want to complete either in one of your core specializations or focus areas. So I did a capstone under the entrepreneurship and strategic innovation. And it really there's always a group component and there's an individual component. And we essentially had to choose a product of our own, but we were also given a product to go to market. And as an entrepreneur and being a strategic thinker, understand how we would take that product life cycle and take that to market. So I thought that project was absolutely great. My other capstone was actually part of a global immersion. So, we'll maybe talk about that later. But then, Supa, what do you have to add on yours?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, someone has a question about what capstone is. Capstone is basically an assignment that allows all students to really apply all of their MBA knowledge and skills to a real world problem. So what I took, one of my capstone was a strategic leadership and management. And in that course, we were given a challenge where we have to select a company and we have to create a business case of how you want to grow their revenue by 4% in the next upcoming year. And I also, for my second one, I also did a global immersion as well to Singapore and Malaysia. And it was such an exceptional experience. So we'll cover on that later. Thank you.
Yes. So a note about the I. This is a question that pops up a lot. Hopefully, if you're seeing this now, maybe you've seen it even on the website. But the I in iMBA, the I refers to the method of delivery only. So I degree is used to refer to all master's degrees delivered online at Gies. So the iMBA, the iMSA, and the iMSN. And so this is not noted on your transcript or degree certificate. This is a fully accredited degree from the University of Illinois. So this is simply just how we, I guess, market our degrees. So this is what the I stands for. So hopefully that clears up any questions you may have had. Faculty sessions. Kate, I believe we're going to show a video of how we conduct some of our live sessions.
Yes, I'm going to show a quick video just to give everyone an overview of live sessions. We're going to talk about high engagement versus the foundational piece that you have in your courses and how those work together here in just a moment. But we like to highlight and just give you an idea of what that environment is. It's very interactive, and this video actually is just really fun. So take a listen.
Hello and welcome from wherever in the world you are. One thing you'll know by now, you'd realize you are not going to be able to just sit back. Got excited.
Absolutely.
I do not believe in exams. It will be a collaborative event, something you do over time with others. And that's what we do in this class. I want you to put up your hands and tell me 2 associations from the case.
Tradition comes to mind.
Associated with a working man.
Also inexpensive and very accessible.
And my classes by saying, all of you, go out in the world and be successful.
Yeah, so that's Professor Hayden Noel. He is just one of our I see Supa smiling, but he's one of our most popular professors and just a crowd favorite. But can you guys both just share a little bit, I guess, about the level of quality of our faculty and maybe who one of your favorite faculty members was or is during your time in the MBA program?
Yeah, Supa, do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of favorites, but Noah is definitely one of them. I think just the energy that he brings into the classroom, the positivity, the engagement. He always asks like what people think and, real world example. And I was actually able to go to a lot of his office hours and met him in person. So yeah, he's definitely one of them. And my other one would be, let's see. Oh, I would say Professor Luckman from leadership class. I have gotten really close to her as well, just by going to office hours and just being really engaged in the classroom. So.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Hayden Noel is that's an easy win. I think everyone can say that he is top notch, his energy and everything he brings to it. So I would say for me too, I really enjoyed Professor Lowenstein. And so he was part of the entrepreneurship and strategic innovation focus area, as well as I believe he also did some leadership courses. Am I right, Supa, on that? I think he had some leadership ones as well. He also is very engaging, high energy, and I just loved, I think, for me as a student who really wanted to improve my strategic thinking, he brought a lot of tools and skill sets of like how all of us are creative and how all of us can be strategic. It's actually like tools and ways that we can think about things. And so I really appreciated his methods of learning for that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we have over 70, I think it's 74, online professors. And so we want you to know that we do have a full team. We have actually in support of them, there's over 250 TAs that help in each of the courses as well. And then on our side, we have over 55 teaching and learning staff members that actually put their heads together and bring together all of the amazing content and support that you have in these classes. So there's a lot of behind the scenes that goes on, before you get to even experience a class here. So, okay, I'm going to jump back in here and share my screen on the design of our online programs.
Yes, so online design, you're really going to see it kind of broken out into like two different components. And so just to give you an example, so if you're just doing, like Coursera, that's really going to be, and you haven't like signed up to do an degree or have been admitted to the degree at Illinois, pretend like the right side in orange does not exist. You would not be involved in any of that. So you would simply be doing the asynchronous component, which is really like the Coursera platform. You can watch the free videos, non-credit. There's training, digital certificates. And so, like I said, in the content, there's videos, self-assessed quizzes, assignments, and peer evaluation. So really, this is where all of your self-learning happens. So a lot of times, so when you're in the degree, you're really going to be focused on this Coursera platform, learning the content, taking your notes, and really preparing and understanding the material leading into a live session, which is going to be, what the professor will probably cover, whether it's a case study or they will be applying these skills and knowledge that you've potentially gained from the Coursera content throughout the week. So then moving to the high engagement, that's really where we're talking about the Canvas platform, where we're going to have our live weekly sessions building on those MOOCs, like I was saying, in Coursera. You're going to be assigned a group in every class that you take. So this is where you'll do your team and group projects. You guys will work outside of class, as well as there'll be group breakouts within class. And you'll have your advanced case studies, exams, midterms, projects, you name it, peer-driven discussion and tutoring, and then faculty office hours. So as Kate mentioned, there are teaching assistants as well as the professors. They will host office hours for you to jump in and ask questions. Hopefully if those time slots work for you, or there is always like a Q&A board in the campus platform that allows you to ask questions where they can answer those really quickly as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in the chat about how these work together. So I don't know if Supa or Brian, if you guys could like just run through what a typical week would look like, maybe. I feel like that might be helpful in how you kind of differentiate between these two things.
Yeah, so for me, I look at, so on the left side, let's really look at the left side as like Coursera. So Coursera is really going to be, so let's just use a leadership course as an example. You may have an hour worth of content in terms of videos, maybe some optional readings, where they're going to be pre-recorded lectures that the professor has already done. So you're going to go into Coursera, probably leading up to, say, your live session on a Thursday. So throughout the week leading up to that Thursday, you're going to take Coursera, you're going to watch these videos, you're going to take notes, and you're really going to learn the content. As you finish the different modules in Coursera, you'll complete these self-assessed quizzes and these peer evaluations where you're going to submit those evaluations and they're going to be graded by other students. So then you're going to get your completion. The left side, the Coursera, is really a pass-fail. So as long as you're completing those within your course, you're going to get credit for them. So then leading into what I would say the high engagement component now is like, now you have the knowledge from the Coursera platform. You've learned that material. Now you're going to come to class ready to speak on it, have peer, group discussions and breakout sessions. You've read the case study potentially that was an assignment, and you're going to have those discussions in class with the professor, and you're really going to break it down into a more detailed way. So then from that live session, then you're typically going to have homework that's going to be due the following Tuesday. So say you have live session on Thursday, now you have Friday to Tuesday to complete potentially maybe a group assignment, maybe a quiz, or an individual assignment that you'll submit by Tuesday evening. Supa, anything you'd like to add on that?
Yeah, I would say the way I view the Coursera component, it's basically an audio textbook. It's your foundation. This is your time to self-pace and really understand the material. And then the high engagement component or the live session, it's your opportunity to engage on the topic and build your expertise within those topics that were taught during the Coursera. And also your time to engage with your peers and talk about previous assignments as well as case studies.
How much time would you guys say it takes to, let's say, take one 4-credit-hour course per 8-week term compared to 2?
So I always have an interesting answer on that, because I know when I asked this question, they told me 10 to 15 hours per class per week. But I challenge that, because I could say 5 to 10 if it's like a leadership course, because I feel like, so for example, like Coursera, you may have 1 week where the Coursera content is only 45 minutes, where then you take an investments course and 1 week is 6 hours of Coursera content. So you can see the disparity of investments. You have 6 hours of Coursera work only, plus your live session, plus your studying, plus your homework, plus your group work. It can add up to 15 hours very quickly. But if you have an hour for a leadership course, plus a live session for another hour and a half, plus homework, maybe it's more 5 to 10. So that's my answer. I don't know, Sue, if you have a different one, but I say it varies, but that's just me.
I think it depends on what kind of person you are and your strengths. I feel like, for quantitative class, it might take you, you just get the math, you look at the math and you get it. So you don't need to spend a lot of time on it. But then, a certain class might require a lot of reading. And if you're not a big reader, you might read slower. So it might take you a little more time. But I would say for one class, I would say like 5 to 10 hours. For a certain class, I would say it takes as much as 15 hours for certain, quant classes. So,
yeah.
One other question that I'm seeing, and I just want to clarify right now, is the difference between the Coursera component and being enrolled as a admitted student in one of our degree programs or credentials. So I think it was Raj asked, can you just complete the Coursera component? And is there high engagement components in that part? The answer is no, because the Coursera component, you can audit that on the Coursera platform. If you pay the subscription fee, you can earn that certificate. And then say you apply to one of our degrees or our credentials. We actually will kind of link up your Coursera account with our Illinois account and recognize any certificates that you've earned, and you would earn that completion credit in one of our courses. So you would kind of check a box. You wouldn't have to necessarily repeat that part. You will want to go back and review it, but then you're going to have, in addition to that, Raj, you're going to have all the high engagement components, which is really a lot of the meat of our courses, where you're having those live sessions and those conversations and projects and faculty office hours. So there's a lot more to our courses besides the Coursera component. And again, you can do that ahead, but once you become an admitted student and you've applied to one of our programs and are paying tuition, then you will have free access to all of our Coursera MOOCs. But then remember that you're having all of that high engagement component is going to be new to you in addition to the Coursera component. It's very confusing sometimes, but once we go over it a couple times, you'll understand it, I promise.
So networking, I know this is a very important topic for anybody looking to join an MBA program. This is definitely a key thing that you want to keep in mind. So, and I can honestly say is I think there's a lot of people who worry that an online degree could have its flaws for networking. And I would say, don't worry about it, because I think there's actually more opportunities in a way. So the Gies-led opportunities, so at the university, they are going to provide university organized, networking opportunities such as iConnects, Immersions, and iConverge. So really there's going to be, maybe there's a happy hour, maybe there's a keynote speaker, there's somebody happening at iConnect. Those will be sent out as an invite, maybe in a specific city or a town. So hopefully they come by to a town near you and you can join. So it sounds like Supa, you went to Singapore for an immersion. I went to Brazil. So they have a lot of different opportunities for you to choose different areas to travel. So depending on whichever location that they're offering, I agree with Supa. It's like, it was one of the most incredible experiences that I've been a part of, and definitely the highlight of my degree journey, to travel with students, meeting international students, meeting international real life projects that are out there in this global world. So immersions are a great way to network. iConverge, this is a weekend that the university hosts on campus, usually like a 3.5, 4-day weekend. Typically you arrive maybe a Thursday night or a Friday morning, and you'll have Thursday, Friday, all day Saturday. They do a business tailgate. You'll get to go to the football game. You'll get to mingle with faculty and staff and your peers and the students, and you guys will go to different live sessions. They do photo headshots. They have different keynote speakers. It's an absolutely wonderful event that they put on. And it's just a way to really feel like you're a part of this university, and to be there and be on campus and just enjoy meeting everyone. Student-led opportunities. I definitely took advantage of this. I had the benefit of living in an area proximity not too far from the university. So there were a lot of students in the area, but they're all over the world. So typically there'll be student-led meetups. I'm kind of jumping down here a little bit, but student-led meetups are definitely a thing that you'll see. And those are a lot of times organized through what we call Workplace. This is kind of like a social media platform that the program uses to connect with other students. So you can send messages, you can write posts, you can ask questions, a lot of engagement there, create groups and different pages of maybe interests that you may have, study sessions. Group work, that's going to be required regardless. So this is a default way that you're going to network with people. You're going to be paired up with new people every class, do different group assignments, another way to meet people. And then there are ambassador and, new student guided programs. So I was a mentor for incoming students. There's a student ambassador program, and there's a student council. And then Kate, I actually don't know if I know what the iGBA is. Is that new?
Supa, are you in the iGBA? No. The iGBA is the Illinois Graduate Business Association. So it had a different name, Brian, when you were in the program, but essentially it's a group of students. I think everybody actually has a general, with your admission, you have general access to this group and you're part of the group. There's different ways to participate though. You can become a vice president of, they have lots of different groups within the larger Graduate Business Association. But essentially it's like a student council group. They put on lots of events. They just hosted a spring takeover where they went to an Illinois baseball game and actually held kind of a meetup, involved with that. And then they also really just act as a kind of a mode of communication between current students and our leadership team, administrative team. So it's a great conduit for those conversations and feedback between back and forth. And we really utilize that because we love listening to our students. We want to make sure that we're addressing students' needs. And then sometimes we also have needs where we need feedback from students. So it's a really great association that does kind of contribute a lot to networking opportunities within the program. Any other, like Supa, I know you've done a lot of these networking types of things. What's been your favorite way to network?
I think my favorite way to network in every city that I travel to, back in 2022, I had to attend a wedding in South Africa, and I had a layover in Doha, Qatar. And it was really great that, I was able to reach out to a fellow student, and he was able to, we just went on a tour around the city, had a really great dinner, and he coming back to America this year, and I'll be meeting with him again at the iConverge event. And immersions are always really fun too. I mean, there's a few of those a year. So I think it's really what you put into, even through LinkedIn, like reaching out to people, getting people thoughts on, career moves or opportunities. The opportunity is always there. So.
I think you hit that on the head. We obviously are looking for students who are going to be very collaborative and interactive in our programs. We love, finding students that have really rich professional work experience, and you bring all of those experiences to the table and talk about those in your group projects and in your live sessions. But again, it is kind of what you make of it. If you want to get more involved, we have a lot of these opportunities for you. If you choose to not partake, that's okay too. But they are there, and I would say the networking is a huge piece of our program, and I think oftentimes a kind of a little bit of a surprise, which we love, because even though it's a virtual environment, there's so many ways to get involved. There's so many ways to meet new people, like, make fast friends. I mean, Supa, I've told that story before, how he took you on that tour that day and dropped you off at the hotel, and you would have never had that opportunity had you not been in the MBA program and known this person, across the world. So yeah, I think, if you have further questions about different ways to network, we can definitely share a little bit more information.
So student and academic success team. So if you are a part of this university, you have access to all of the resources that this university has to offer. I know that's another question. There's like, well, we're online. Do we get to talk to the Career Center and advisement? And the answer is yes. So that's the good thing here is. So degree requirements and policies, you'll be well informed of these. Degree planning, express advising, open office hours, one-on-one appointments, email support, and I can say that the response time is very quick. So if you're planning out your degree with the degree planning tool, and you have a question and you just want to make sure you decide you want to switch to specialization, you want to drop out of a course and move to something else. This is express advising. There are advisors ready and willing to help you. You'll find an appointment online, and a lot of times you can find something pretty quick, and they will work with you and help planning that out and making sure that you're graduating still on time, that the switches that you're making aren't going to interfere with that timing. So these resources are very readily available to you, and yeah, they're there to support you and help you succeed.
Perfect. This takes us to another poll. So this poll, as we move into the application portion of the presentation, I know there's been a couple questions in there. Give us an idea of which part of the application looks most time consuming, which part are you most nervous about, and then we can have a little bit more kind of detailed response as far as where we focus that time. So Supa, I saw a question just while people are filling out this poll. Which specializations did you complete or are you completing?
Yeah.
As the focus areas.
Yeah, I'm currently doing strategic innovation with an elective path, and my elective path has the project management class in it. So
perfect. And then there was one other question about timing. So someone had asked if you're on the 2-year timeline in the MBA program, you would need to take at least 2 courses every 8-week term. So you'd have 8 credit hours every 8-week term. You'd probably have to go, I think you can complete it just in the 2-year timeline. If you take 1 course at a time every 8-week term, which as we say, that would be about 10 to 15 hours of work each week, that would put you more on the 3-year timeline, or maybe just a hair over the 3-year timeline. As Brian said earlier, most people kind of go in between, and the beautiful thing is about the way that we degree plan is it's really up to you. You don't have to have a set plan when you start the program. You can do 2 courses for 2 terms and then decide, oh, this is way too much, and cut back and just do 1. We don't mind how you do it. This is your degree. So as long as you complete all of the coursework within that 5-year timeline, you will earn that master's degree. And it's going to cost the same regardless of how fast you go, because we have a pay-as-you-go tuition model. So you only pay for each course that you're registered for as you move throughout the program. So there's no lump sum. You're just going to pay as you go, which I love. I feel like that's a nice financial planning kind of tool built right in for you. So we don't require you to pay that huge sum. And so again, then you can decide, well, maybe next term I need to cut back a little bit. I'll just do one course and just pay the tuition for that one course versus two. So really flexible there. It's really up to you. One other note on the focus areas too, you don't have to come in and just plan your degree plan and know exactly the order and everything, from the get-go. We, as Brian said, we have that student academic support team. We don't expect you to do that, to be honest. We want you to just get started with one course, get yourself acclimated and figure out, this is new for most people. Most people haven't been in school for, 10, 11 years from when they graduated. So we want you to navigate everything, figure out what you're doing, and then, wait a couple courses and then you can figure out your degree plan. There's really no rush. You don't have to pick the focus areas right away. You have plenty of time to do all that. Okay, jumping back in. I know we only have about 10, 12, 13 minutes here. Looks like 13 minutes left. I want to make sure we have a little time for questions here at the end. So we're going to move pretty quickly through this last part. But it looks like personal statement, resume, recommendation forms are the most pressing here. So let's make sure we address those right away. As far as the application requirements go for the MBA program, we do require a bachelor's degree. So make sure you have that. A minimum GPA of 3.0 is required. We do have an option called the performance-based admissions track, which if you don't quite meet that 3.0, that's okay. We holistically review our applicants. And what that means is that we are looking at your bachelor's degree, we're looking at your resume, we're looking at your rich professional work experience and making sure that's, we're digging in there and understanding where you've worked. We're looking at your reference forms. So we're looking at all of the parts. So we're not going to just look at that GPA. If perhaps you have a 2.8, maybe you have a 2.5, but you feel like you really have a strong case to be a great student, we do have that performance-based admissions track, which is, that's a mouthful, but you will go through the same application process. And if admitted to that, you would be admitted as a non-degree student and you would be required to take 3 core courses. It's the Core 2 specialization where you will take those 3 courses one at a time, earn a B or better in at least 2 of the 3, and an overall GPA of 3.0, and then we will automatically admit you into the degree program. So it's a really nice way to allow students who, if we just had that hard 3.0 cutoff, that you have that kind of leeway, because we're looking at your holistic application and we want to make sure that we recognize that, school could have been 10 plus years ago for you. And we know that you've made a lot of progress since then. The other requirement on the work experience is that we do pretty much require a minimum of 3 years of work experience for the MBA program. Okay, so bachelor's degree, we need the unofficial transcripts for that. If you're an international student, make sure you have the English translations if they weren't delivered in English. And academic statement, there is a short 500-word academic statement just asking you a little bit about your professional goals and why this degree is right for you. And we're really looking to learn a little bit more about you that we didn't learn in your application, so keep that in mind. And then there's a couple other short personal statements that are just 250 words or less. So that, try not to let the academic part, the statement part, stress you out. It's really straightforward and shouldn't be too difficult. Recommendations, so we do require 2, at least 1 we would love to have from a current or previous supervisor or manager. And here's the deal with the recommendations. I know that this could also be a stressful part of an application, but don't let it be. We actually just need the name and email of your recommenders. And I would say, give them a heads up that we're going to reach out, but as soon as you put their name and email into your application, we actually spit out an email to them with a form, and it's a really simple, straightforward form. It takes probably no more than 10, 15, 20 minutes for them to fill out. There's about 8 to 10 questions of strongly agree to strongly disagree, and then just, I think it's 2, maybe 3 paragraphs that they're just giving, answering just a couple questions on, your working relationship with this reference. So not a huge lift. They can write a letter if they would like, but honestly, they carry the same weight. I would say they can do both if they want, but the recommendation form is just fine too. English proficiency is required if you're an international student. Please reach out to us if you have specific questions on that. No GRE, no GMAT, which is excellent. And then scholarships. So unfortunately, we have passed the scholarship deadline for fall. If you're interested in a scholarship, you could apply for a January start or a spring 2025 start coming up. Those applications will be due by October 2nd, I believe. It's the first Thursday in October. So if you are interested in scholarship, you have to apply by that deadline for a January start. Okay, so I think we hit all of those kind of issues that we saw on the poll. So hopefully that clarified some of those for you. Give us 2 to 3 weeks once you submit your application. We really do turn applications around pretty quickly. If we reach out, actually, we will reach out after those 2 to 3 weeks with a missing materials email. We will invite you to interview, or you will receive a decision. So one of those 3 things will happen. If it doesn't within those 2 to 3 weeks, please reach out to us and we'll make sure something didn't get missed there. Next deadline. Okay, so our fall 2024 deadlines are kind of wrapping up. Tomorrow is our priority 2 deadline. So there's no application fee. And then you have all of these other benefits if you apply by June 6th. And then our final deadline to start in August would be June 27th. So you have a few more weeks to fit in an application before that fall final deadline. It's okay if you miss the fall deadline too, because fortunately for us and you, we do have 5 term starts throughout the year for the MBA program. So you basically would just bump yourself to the next application deadline, which would be for an October start. So that deadline would be September, I want to say September 6th, I believe, to apply for that October deadline. So deadlines all the time. Obviously, I don't know about Brian and Supa, but I've talked with a lot of students. They all wish they would have just done it sooner. Oftentimes their advice is just apply now. You could wait forever. I don't know. Do you agree with that, Supa?
For me, I plan really far ahead. I think for me, it was really important to really reflect on like why I want an MBA and what I'm gonna do with it. So I think, that part is gonna depend on the person. But the better prepared you are, the better.
Yeah, I would definitely say I agree with Supa, is like you want to make sure you're doing this for the right reasons and you know why you're doing it. But then once you have that decided, like don't procrastinate. Don't put this out. I think earlier in the webinar there was the worry about time. Well, time's not going to get any easier and it's going to continue to pass by. So I would dive right in. I don't think you'll regret this program. It's been fantastic to me, and it sounds like Supa, you've had great experience as well.
Love that. All right, well, let's wrap this up so we can get to some questions. This, why Gies? I hope that we shared just a couple of reasons that would kind of, I guess, influence you to apply to Gies. We have a great time here. We have excellent programs, a huge alumni network that will be yours once you graduate. I hope you've seen that we do have a lot of flexibility as far as how we structure pretty much everything. We're pretty flexible here. We realize that this was designed for students who are working full-time, have families, have other interests, and that's who this program was designed for. So right from the get-go, we are flexible because that's who this program is for. So it's affordable. We talked a little bit about the pay-as-you-go tuition model, which is really nice. I hope you saw a little bit about how innovative we are here as far as how we deliver our information between the high engagement component, the Coursera component. They work really well together. And then lastly, obviously, the networking opportunities. I know that a lot of times when you're just looking online at our programs, it's hard to see those opportunities, those in-person, those connections on a website. And I can tell you, I've met some really great students within the program. I mean, I've sat in person with both Brian and Supa and just had a great time. But yeah, we have a lot of fun here, but you are going to earn a full MBA master's degree, and I guarantee that it will impact your family life, your career, and you'll also have a really good time. So we hope you join us. This last slide, I guess, is hopefully we get all greens on this slide, but how do you feel? Are you overwhelmed? Do you feel like you had your answers, your questions answered? Hopefully we see quite a bit of green here. If we don't, we are going to stop sharing and make sure that we hear from Steph and see what kind of questions were kind of a theme here that we need to touch base on again. So there are a couple yellows. So if you answered yellow, I want you to put your questions here now in the chat or the Q&A so that we can make sure that we address those. Here's that QR code again, in case you missed that at the beginning. All right, so let's take a look at the chat. Steph, anything stand out that we missed?
I don't think so. I think we got most of it answered. I'm sorry if we missed anything. I know a lot of it came through the chat, so I've been trying to scroll back up and catch stuff. A lot of questions came through about the cost.
The what? I'm sorry.
A lot of questions came through about cost, but I think we got
cost.
all that.
Okay. If you were yellow, please put those questions in the Q&A or the chat. So we do want to make sure we answer those. I'm pretty sure too that we can, actually, no, I thought we could actually allow you to talk live, but it doesn't look like we can. Any research opportunities? So typically within the MBA program, there is not. We do have a lot of outside opportunities like iVenture. We have the Illinois Business Consulting Group. There are other opportunities that you can participate in, and as an online student, you can still participate in those, but we don't have research opportunities per se. I'm looking here. So I see a question about a non-bachelor's degree or below the 3.0 performance-based admissions. That really, the only route for those two really is the performance-based admissions track. We kind of recently, the grad college will allow us to look at rich professional work experience. Maybe you are just a course or two short of your bachelor's degree. They're case-by-case basis, but the only way that we would be able to consider you would be through the performance-based admissions process. So make sure you apply that. Your application will be considered that for regardless. So say you do have a 2.8 possibly, and it doesn't mean you have to go the PAT route, but if you decide to not apply outright that way, we will consider you for both the degree process or the degree application and the PAT. We will make sure that we find the best fit for you because we want you to have a successful start and finish. And so we will find the best fit for you regardless of how you apply. Hopefully that answered that question. Looks like Asafran. David, I saw that question in the Q&A. So, Steph, do you mind putting the financial or the bursar office link in?
Yep, I will put that in there. And then I also had several people asking about the credits, 72 credits opposed to the 30+ credits required by other MBA programs. Not sure if you want to address that one.
Sure. So a lot of programs have 3 credit hour courses. Ours are 4. So right there, you are going to get that 72 kind of credit hour. Our program also, remember, it was designed for full-time working professionals. So it's going to be over that 3-year timeline. You're essentially taking courses part-time because if you were full-time, you would just only be in school. So you're going to take those 1 or 2 courses each 8-week term throughout your time. So the 72 credit hours, the majority is because it is 4 credit hours versus a lot of other programs being that 3 credit hour course. All right, last question I see from Raj. Yes, if you're interested in applying to one of our programs, you will apply directly to our application portal, and Steph will go ahead and put that in the chat. But basically, yes, you have to apply through Gies. If you apply through Coursera and you just take one of the Coursera courses, then that would be only on the Coursera platform, and you would not be earning transcript credit or a degree or credential from the University of Illinois Gies College of Business. So they are different in that sense. We partner with Coursera and use utilize that for our foundational material, or kind of like our textbook in our courses. So that's one way to look at it. Any last words, Brian or Supa, while we're wrapping up these last minute questions?
I just think for me, I'd say whether it's this program or another, don't hesitate, but we would love to have you. I think iMBA program is fantastic, and I think it'll really suit your needs, and you will get a lot from it. I know I did, and that's why I'm still very involved with the university even 3 years after graduating.
Love that.
I would say, just like all things, it's what you put into. And I think, spend a lot of time reflecting on why you want an MBA and what you want to do with it, but also like what you bring to the table. So yeah, that's my last advice.
All right, I'm typing one more English proficiency answer here in the chat. But for now, I think we'll wrap it up at 7:02. I actually am going to go ahead and stop the recording here. And if anybody wants to stick around with me just for a couple extra questions, I'm happy to stick around. But we'll go ahead and wrap up our time today. It sounds like there was so many great questions and hopefully great answers that you heard. And hopefully you're thinking a little bit more about how Gies Business can help you impact your career. We're very excited to have you here. Thank you, Supa. Thank you, Brian, for doing such a great job on the presentation. Steph, I know your fingers are probably going to be tired here in a little bit. That was a lot of typing for the Q&A, but we really appreciate your help there. And I think that's it. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon. But don't hesitate to reach out to us. Have a great week.